Earlier today, 9 of the 16 people from Michigan accused of being fake electors during the 2020 campaign appeared in court. They're facing 8 charges, including forgery and conspiracy to commit election forgery. Joining us now is Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson. Thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
We are very glad to have you. Thank you for your time. So first, when those charges were initially announced, you mentioned accountability. What does that mean to you?
Well, I think, these felony charges filed against all 16 individuals who allegedly, knowingly, intentionally sought to defraud the government and the voters of Michigan by submitting fake electoral votes with the goal of disrupting the electoral process after the 2020 election was an unprecedented, actionable attempt to nullify the votes of millions of citizens in this state. And that simply cannot go unchecked. If it does go unchecked, we will see it happen again and again because there need to be ramifications. And so that's what, to me, these charges represent. And certainly as we begin to see accountability and justice for those who were part of this actionable plan here in Michigan, nationally, and in other states, to ultimately subvert the will of the people in 2020. We also have to remember that we're coming up against a presidential election cycle in 2024, where we've all got to do the work needed to restore people's faith in the process. And accountability is a key way of showing that if anyone attempts to undo the will of the people, we will be there and ensure that justice is served.
And we've seen so much political divide in recent years. You mentioned restoring that faith in the process. Do you think that something like this can affect the faith that people in Michigan have in the election process?
There's so much noise in our political arena right now, and there has been for a long time. And I think first and foremost, we do need leaders, and many have, but we need all leaders to really turn down the volume of that noise so that voters can simply get clarity as to what's real and what's not. And when all citizens, regardless of who they vote for or where they live, are going to look at and focus on the facts and the truth and listen to trusted voices, be it their local clerks or others, then we can restore that faith that people rightfully should have in their democracy. We have at the Department of State worked to respond to every allegation, respond with truth and with facts to every question that has arisen over the last several years. We even set up a website, michigan.gov/SOS fact check, that goes through all of the conspiracy theories and questions that have emerged over the years. And we'll continue to do that in partnership with many or all around the state. But we do need everyone to kind of come together and recognize that we've got elections coming up. They are elections where professional election officials will be administering them safely and securely to ensure everyone can vote. And our biggest priority needs to be about restoring faith in democracy and educating citizens about their options to vote in the state so that we can continue to see people on all sides participating in high numbers, because that's how we get to a true vibrant society and a democracy and a government that works for everyone.
And it's important that we have that confidence and that faith in the system, that it is fair and balanced. The 2024 primary just months away. How is Michigan preparing for that in light of everything that's happened?
We've spent a lot of time this year working with lawmakers to ensure we've got the rules in place to administer, among other things, 9 days at least early voting going into next year in statewide elections. And a lot of clerks have adjusted and adapted to so much over the last few years that we're working with them to ensure this next phase goes smoothly as well. I'm grateful for the funding our clerks and our state has received in the most recent budget process to help us ensure we can meet these needs of these new options to vote, early voting, and other things in our state. And so we're doing what we've done well in the past to prepare for 24, preparing these to educate voters about these new options, putting them in place. And we're also working with faith leaders and business leaders, sports leaders, and community leaders to provide educational materials that will cut through the political noise and simply tell citizens everywhere what they need to cast their vote and how they can be assured once they do cast their vote will be counted. And so people are going to see a lot of me and a lot of all of us in the next year and a half as we work to build that trust and educate people about participation, and also encourage people to participate, not just as voters, but as election officials. Sign up to be a poll worker so you could see firsthand just how secure the process is and help administer it for everyone.
Lastly, I want to ask you about this. The former president, Donald Trump, could be facing some similar charges in Georgia. Any thoughts on that?
Well, my office is going to continue to fully cooperate with any legal efforts to bring anyone who violated the law to justice. And I think we will see continually a number of charges as we progress through this phase of the election process. The charges we've seen in Michigan, the charges we've seen at the national level, the charges we may see in Georgia and other states are all part of an ongoing collective effort to seek justice for the wrongs of the past so that we can ensure that they don't happen again.
All right, Jocelyn Benson, Michigan Secretary of State, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.